As always, Ted, kick us off. Who do you have as your winner of the week?
Well, this is a special edition of winners and losers on my end because I'm attacking Bedlam because I think there's winners from what's gone on and I think there's losers from what's gone on. I'll start with the winning side. Oklahoma State. Absolutely winners for this thing not continuing forward. Oklahoma has been the largest barricade for them really breaking into that next level of football teams. If you go back record wise and look at it, it's been the Achilles heel for Mike Gundy, not being able to get past Oklahoma. And there's reasons for that, right? They're two different programs that have different access to different types of things, but not playing this game for the football program for Oklahoma State may be the best thing that's ever happened to them. They can get out of the shadow. They don't have to take what's been almost a guaranteed L over the years, and they got a good chance to win the Big 12. They got a good chance to have one more win every season moving forward, and I think that's going to help them tremendously. I think it's going to help them in recruiting. I think it's going to help them in how they're ranked. I think it's going to help them, bring in some more money. I know that game was huge for them locally, bringing in money, but I think with what can be more consistent results, high in the top 25, perhaps playoff appearances year in, year out under the expanded format, I think overall, I wouldn't have gone about it the same way that Oklahoma State did as far as their public comments about it. But it's a no-brainer to me. If you're Oklahoma State and you're talking about the best outcome for your football team, you don't want to play this game.
Yeah. And and I know they won the game last year, right? We all watched it, but it has not gone particularly well for Oklahoma State when those two teams meet. So, yeah, I agree. Them not having to play that game, when you think about wins and losses for their football program, huge positive for them moving forward. No doubt about it.
Yep. Loser. I mean, there's a bunch of losers. I think it's just the thing that you have to circle is tradition, right? And you can attack that from a million different angles. Families that have, different sides that root for different teams. And there's always that, that rivalry going on between families and friends. And I think the in-state, money generated from these two teams playing, I think is tremendous. Especially local communities or local businesses in Stillwater and in Norman. I mean, this game is always a packed house. But it's not just the Bedlam tradition. We're seeing it across the country with the realignment. I mean, it's an unfortunate aspect of what's gone on. You cannot be left behind money-wise. And in order to not be left behind money-wise, you have to make some difficult decisions and let go of some things that maybe previously you never would have imagined letting go of. And I think, unfortunately, we may see a little bit more of it before this is all said and done. But, whenever you lose something, hopefully you gain something. And maybe with Oklahoma State and with Oklahoma, we can both end up finding some new rivalries in our new conferences.
I'm with you. And we'll end up seeing how this all works out. I refuse to believe that this game's just going away for forever.
I know.
I think when you look at where college football is headed, I think it could come back maybe quicker than people think with the college football playoff expansion and with how significant a role the TV networks are playing now. I don't think it's going to be that far down the road where Power 5 teams are going to be playing 11 Power 5 games every year. And that's going to be something that the networks push for. And how that, what type of domino effect that has for some of the lower levels of college football, I don't know. But, and I would like to say, and Brett McMurphy broke that story, and it was a great article with the quotes from Weiberg and from Joe C. But this whole notion that this game can't be played because things are scheduled and they're full, that's such bullshit on both sides. Because the scheduling philosophy for both, right? Hey, we're going to play one Power 5 in the non-conference, when we're going to play, a group of 5 and then an FCS. No one wants to watch the FCS game. Nobody. Get rid of it and play Bedlam. It's that easy. Oh, well, it's complicated. We have country. No. It's that easy. It really is. I promise. And all this excuse making on both sides, I'm just like, guys, can you just spare us? Stop treating us like we're idiots. Like, oh, the philosophy, it just doesn't work. Oh, really? I was looking at, the future schedule for Oklahoma State, right? In 2024. Oh, OSU fans, let's say OU's in the SEC by then. They want to watch OSU play South Dakota State instead of Bedlam?
No.
I mean, really? How about 2026 for Oklahoma State? Murray State. Oh, yeah, I'm sure the Cowboys faithful are fired up for that one. And the same thing can be said for Oklahoma. I have no interest in watching OU play Illinois State in 2025 to kick the season off, or New Mexico in 2026. Zero interest. OU's got one non-conference opponent on the schedule for 2027, and it's that SMU series. They got 2 open dates. Why can't one be Bedlam? Someone explain to me why. Oh, well, the philosophy. Change the philosophy. It ain't that hard. Give us good games. I mean, that's the thing that pisses me off is they're like, oh, it just can't happen. We're full. That's such bullshit.
Yeah. Well, it's going to change sooner or later, because just like you said, no one wants to watch those games. And if you talk to Oklahoma State fans, at least from what I've heard, and I've heard from a very, very small percentage of Oklahoma State fans, but it sounds like the narrative is like, we don't want to play it. We're fine with not playing it. And I can understand that. You know who's not fine with you not playing it? The networks. That is a highly rated football game. It's one of the most bet football games in all of college sports. And you have to look at it from a network's perspective. You're replacing a highly rated game, one of the highest bet games in all of college football, with, who'd you say, South Dakota State or something like that's, again, that's what you're replacing it with.
Yeah.
The network does not like that.
And fans shouldn't like it either. But like, if the philosophy remains the same, like OU fans, we're going to have to watch a bad game instead of watching Bedlam.
I think the situation that changes everything is when 2 lost teams start making the 12-team playoff.
Right.
Until
we're hopeful,
happens,
at least.
Right. Until that happens, unfortunately, in college football, the fear of losing 2 games is you can't overcome that right now. It's like, why would we play Oklahoma and stab ourselves in the foot whenever we don't even need to under the current model of trying to win a championship? And it makes sense, unfortunately.
Yeah. My whole thing is, there's no doubt that, I mean, and it's silly to say, okay, whose fault is it? Like, there's no doubt that the majority of the blame goes to Oklahoma, right? You're leaving for the SEC. You were in the same conference. You're not anymore. But Oklahoma State, anybody would have done the same thing, right? Would have made the same financial decision. if they were presented the same opportunity. Like, yeah, OU leaving, I can see, I can take off my crimson and cream glasses and say, yes, that is the main reason why Bedlam's going to go away. But this notion on both sides that it just can't be worked out is just ridiculous to me. Just play the damn game, man.
Totally agree.
And the thing that bothers me the most, maybe not the most, but there's two things. Number one, we've been making fun of Texas and Texas A&M for years. Just play each other. Stop whining. Stop, like, who cares? Just play each other. And now look at us. We're doing the exact same thing.
I know it.
The exact same thing that we've been making fun of them for over a decade now. And this is not to get like too sentimental or anything. When this happened, when Brett McMurphy's story broke, I was sitting downstairs hanging out with my son, and I was like, this is wild. I'm going to have to explain to him that Oklahoma and Oklahoma State used to play each other, and it used to be called Bedlam, and that two of my favorite memories of my entire life, beating them in overtime in Norman in, what was that, 2012, and then coming back and beating them in Stillwater in 2013, two of my favorite memories ever. I'm going to have to explain why that was important. And it just pisses me off. It's like, that's not like, kids growing up here should understand the importance of that rivalry, and they should be able to watch that game. It pisses me off, man.
No, I agree. And I understand the frustration. And I guess I'll end with this on my side. I remain optimistic that it's not dead forever. I think there'll be a time and a place where both schools will be able to come back and explore the idea.
I'm with you. I also found Gundy's like presentation with the notes on the sheet after practice. Did you see that video?
No, I didn't.
It's hilarious. Check it out.
Okay.
It's just like, he's like looking around like, any objections? No. Okay. Next point. It's hilarious. He's a showman, man. It's funny. All right. Let's get to my winner and loser. For my winner of the week, thought about going with Jalen Hurts, man. That man balled on Monday Night Football.
Yes, he did.
26 of 31, 333, touchdown, interception, 57 rushing yards, and 2 TDs on the ground. Also, he was being compared to Kirk Cousins, which made it look like he played even better, right? Primetime Kirk, not great. A couple of horrible interceptions for Cousins in that one. But Eagles look good. We've talked about them being able to make some noise in the NFC, and it looks like they could be a team that could really shake things up there.
I like what I've seen from Jalen. He's exceeded my expectations in the NFL. I thought he was, possibly going to be a little bit limited with some of the passing game and stuff.
I think you and I both thought he was going to be like a career backup.
Yeah.
Be a really good backup quarterback. Start start quite a few games, but man, if he continues playing like this, whoa.
Yeah, agree.
I also thought about going with high school kids that want to go straight to the NBA, because Shams reported that the NBA could eliminate the one and done rule as early as 2024. We're going to have 18-year-olds back in the NBA, Ted.
Yeah, I'm interested in this. What does that mean for, like, if they eliminate the one and done rule, is there going to be anything else for college, or is it just going to stay that you can go whenever you want?
Yeah, I think it'll. Are you saying, like, is it going to turn into baseball, right? Where you got to stay 3 years?
Yeah.
I don't think so, but I do think the cool thing about this is, right, there's going to be, I think there will be a very select few that just jump straight to the NBA. But now these really, really talented basketball players in high school, they've got options, right? They can go overseas. They can play in the G League. They can go straight to the NBA now, or they can go to college, which, you've got loose transfer rules and you've got NIL. So, I mean, there's some really good options. Like, if you're an elite basketball player as a high school player, there's some really good options for you now.
Yeah. I've never had a problem with it. The one and done in college seems like a farce to begin with, because it's not even a one and done. It's like there's no they don't even give a rip at all about the school, right? So it's just like you're being forced to be there and do something that you don't want to do, that you're clearly not going to finish up, and it just becomes, I don't know. I I'm a fan of this. I do hope though that it ends up like maybe some of the guys that you knew were never going to play more than 1 year in college. Maybe now that those guys leave, that there becomes guys staying longer at their schools, but maybe not. I don't know, but I like whenever there's good junior and senior led teams with good talent on them. Those typically make some of the best squads.
Yeah. But my winner of the week, Jalen Pitre. You remember him. We had a massive football crush on him at Baylor.
Stud.
Absolute stud. And in fact, he's got 15 tackles in his first 2 games for the Houston Texans. But Ted, this story may make you like him even more. I'm not sure. It may or may not. But just like you, he was an early second round pick, right? So Jalen Pitre, he got drafted in the second round by the Texans, signed an $8.9 million contract with the $3.6 million signing bonus. So he rich. Good for him. You want to take a guess at where he is currently living?
In a beautiful high-rise condo downtown Houston.
Incorrect.
Huh.
Jalen Pitre's parents live approximately 20 minutes from NRG Stadium, where the Texans play, and he is currently living with his parents in his childhood bedroom.
Oh.
And I guess, so this is what happened from the story I read on ESPN. I guess he asked his mom to help him look for houses. So she's, doing her thing. I don't know if it's Zillow or Redfin or whatever people use. And she found some stuff. She relayed to him what the monthly costs could be. And it sounded maybe he was going to rent. And, it was like the cheapest one was like 10 grand a month. And he was like, no, I'm good. I'm just going to stay with you guys. So he's living with his parents. It's hilarious. And he's going to bed early. He's bringing his own food from the facility. So he's eating good. He's not eating a bunch of unhealthy stuff. He's like, I can't be eating what my parents make for me. I'll get a little too hefty. So he's just casually living at home with his parents, starting NFL games.
That during the season, that sounds amazing. Like the greatest thing ever. During the off season, maybe not as much, but in season, I cannot. Oh, that would be so awesome. Now, I just disagree with him on the food thing. Coming home after a long day of practice, pulling up, walking inside, mom's got dinner ready. That's just like the greatest thing ever. I would have loved that.
And it's good that he's saving on rent, because I was digging into this story a little more. Knocked the hell out of Pierce from the Colts. Got a $9,000 fine for unnecessary roughness for that hit. So, hey, he's saving money, but now he's donating some to the league, paying those fines. Hopefully it gets reduced for our guy.
Not a shock though, because he is an animal and he plays physical and fast. That kid's going to be an absolute stud. And I think that's just so smart. Instead of, there's such a rush to try and live the life of what you've seen superstars live before, right? And throw away a ton of money trying to get there for whatever reason, just to try and showcase some wealth, and staying at parents' house, saving money. Brilliant.
And even both of his parents in the article, they're like, yeah, he's a little cheap, It was great. I was like, hey, good for him.
You think he's had the the sit down with Pops is like, all right, you're going to have to pull your weight around here. You're going to have to pay some of the bills. We need you to take out the trash. It's not a free ride.
That was in the article. He has tried. His parents have refused to let him pay for anything.
Nice.
Which is his dad's a UPS driver, like grinding all day. So it's a cool story, man.
Very
all
cool.
Right, for my loser of the week, thought about going with Herm Edwards. Yikes. Now, he didn't get fired walking off the field like some people thought. The guy who took that video actually said, hey, no, that's not what happened. And I guess it was a mutual thing between Arizona State and Herm Edwards. But I feel like the goal for a head coach is always to leave the program better than you found it. Herm Edwards did not do that with Arizona State. They've got the looming NCAA investigation. They've got no players. Their coaches all left. Like it's been a disaster.
I agree. And there's a ton of uncertainty hanging over the head of Arizona State. It's going to be fascinating to see who will take that job whenever you don't even know what conference you're going to be in, what's going to happen to the Pac-12. Like it's a weird situation for that university right now.
Yeah, it's not good. And it's going to be interesting to see who takes that job. Alex Grinch's name floating out there wouldn't suck.
Yeah.
Be pretty great for a couple of our best friends.
Yeah, I think that's a good opportunity. I do. I think you have access to some good stuff there. You should be able to recruit. I know Phoenix isn't just a super hotbed of talent, but there's some good aspects of that school that can help you get some talent in there.
Yeah. I also thought about going with Justin Fields. Bears got smacked by the Packers per usual. I mean, Aaron Rodgers owns them, right? And he's let them know. That's still such a great video. I own you. But Justin Fields, he made the mistake, right? Quote, losing hurts more in the locker room than for Bears fans because at the end of the day, they're not putting in any work. Oh boy. While it may be true, right? NFL players, college players, like they put in incredible amounts of work to try and go win games. Saying you care more than fans is never the road to go down. It's never going to work out well, ever, 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 ever. And especially after you just got whooped by a divisional rival. Just a bad mistake from the young QB for the Bears. You don't say that. You just don't.
No, and that's going to be very difficult to recover from.
Not
especially
good.
Without winning a whole bunch of football games, yeah, that's typically that's typically a sign of things to come whenever that statement comes out. I get it. Yeah. He's probably getting tons of hate there in the media and from fans walking on and off the field. I get that, but this just made it way worse.
Yeah. Especially fans worked their asses off to be able to pay for tickets to go and watch you play.
It's not just a show up if you want to situation in the NFL.
No. Yeah, that was a big mistake. And also, like one of the most popular things going around social media right now is this boyfriend and girlfriend. Like the guy is sitting there, like looking at the TV. He's got like a Bears leather jacket, a beanie on. He's got a Justin Fields jersey on underneath. She comes around. He's watching the end of the Packers game. He comes around and he's like crying. And it's a hilarious. I don't know if it was staged or not. I don't think it was. I'm going to choose to believe it wasn't. But he's like, they cheated and all this stuff. And she's like, why are you crying? And there's this moment he goes, I've been with you for 2 months. They've been my team for 22 years. It's so good, dude. Oh, it's so brilliant.
That's
but my loser of the week, and I don't think there's many of these people out there, but I saw a few people that are like, oh, the Eli Manning thing, it wasn't that funny. Okay. If you don't think the Chad Powers walk-on tryout at Penn State bit, if you don't think that was hilarious, then the problem is you. Because Ted, I laughed my ass off.
I watched it yesterday while I was doing my radio show. So I just watched the video. I didn't get to like hear all of the dialogue and know like the whole background of it. So who all knew about it? Did it look like Franklin knew about it?
Yeah, so Franklin knew, but like it, from what I could tell, like the GAs and like the younger coaches had no idea. And the dialogue is probably the best part. And if you haven't seen it, just search Chad Powers on the internet and you'll find it. But Eli Manning, he goes undercover to a walk-on tryout at Penn State, and I mean, some of the dialogue's the best part. Like he's running his 40 and out loud he's going, think fast, run fast, think fast, run fast. It's so, and he runs like a 5.49, which is amazing.
It's funny. He's getting hammered about that 40. It's probably one of the best 40s ever run, right? Or just right on par with it.
It may be the only 40 he's run since like his freshman year in college.
Right.
But there's one part he said like how he's never played on a team before because he was homeschooled, and he was like, my mom was my coach and my teacher. And the guy's like, did you get good grades? He was like, no, she wasn't very smart. She was a good coach though. Like there's some things in there that are just the dialogue's hilarious. Eli Manning's funny, man.
He is.
I mean, he's funny in his own way, but maybe the best line, he's like, hell, Brady can play till he's 44. Chad can play till he's 26. It's so good.
The disguise is equal parts ridiculous and believable at the same time. It's pretty funny. They pulled it off. It's good.
They definitely pulled it off. And there's like a longer version of the video. It's like 15 minutes or so. It's so good, man. But to anyone that didn't think that was that funny, I can't help you because it was hilarious.
And he can still throw the football.
He said, not just good looking. I can throw it, baby.
I heard one of them. He's like, that leave a dent in your chest?
Right in the chest. Oh,